Good morning, good morning, good morning. Okay, let's do a scan and see what's out there. I'm thinking maybe the dailies. I mean, looking at Bitcoin, look at where it is. I mean, that could. I'm just saying, I'm toying with that being a trade, but the reality is, I've got a bit of resistance around. It's not exact though. It's not a perfect resistance level. You know what I mean? Like, is it here? Well, it spikes through. Is it here? There's a few tests there. It's gotten through, and all I needed to do is get to one to one. So I'm not sure if I would consider it to be a significant level. I mean, I could bring it all the way back down to that high, but again, we've gone through it many, many times. It's not. Remember that resistance is two tests at an upper price point for resistance, or two price points for support underneath. I don't have that. But I'm not saying I've made a decision whether I'll take a trade here on Bitcoin or not. I'm definitely tempted, but what I'm getting at is that we might see a bit in the market that's already, that still remains in an uptrend. There might be some daily cradles available now. Bitcoin Cash, been watching this one for a while. I was kind of hoping it had closed down here because it's a really good spot for a stop. Back into this resistance, because there are two tests. Yes, there's a bees stick break, but there's two tests here and here, and it's tested that. Closing at those lows and having a small bullish candle to open tomorrow morning would be ideal. Doesn't look like I'm going to get that, but we'll wait and see. So let's go ahead and have a look at what we've got. Oh, sorry, and trades that I'm in. Look, this hyper link or hyper, well, I don't know, forgotten what it's called. It continues to put on, it continues to hold strong. I'm really liking the look of this for another leg up as well. Like, look at this on the daily. It's had that little pullback. It looks like it's decided that's the higher low there. Waiting to see if it can clear this high. If it can do that, then we're looking really good for another leg up. There is some resistance coming up at 28.50, but of course, there's a long way for that to, a lot more upside there as well, considering I took it on a 2-hour breakout. Voxel had a great day yesterday, which was welcome. That short's playing out really good. There's no real place to move a stop to. I guess, there is. There's here. Stop can go to there. There is two candles breaking the highs, so we can lock in profit there. And just waiting to see what happens. Might actually close a little bit of that today, just because it has had a very good move. It is in very good profit. I might close half of that position just so I've locked in a bit more profit there. But all going well. The others would have been taken out. ATH had a sharp pullback. Let's see what we've got. Alrighty. So a lot of these dailies pulling back into the right area. See, something like this, a little bullish candle down there is worth, considering. It's not there yet, of course, so it doesn't go into the list. That's going to be too deep, I think. Yeah, I don't like that on the 12. No. Another one here on Floki. Look at this clean pullback, another clean pullback, a bullish candle in there. Again, these pullbacks, when it's slow, we had a really good run of, the market was running, there was trades available, we did well. Well, I can't speak for everybody here, but I know a lot of you did well. I did well. And it's kind of in that sort of reset period, I guess. And it looks as though the the pullback is a daily reset, which, whilst it may be like, damn, there's no trades today, that's fine. What we're looking for is that, so what we've got to look at is this could produce exactly what we want, to get a really nice clean pullback followed by a little bullish candle on these higher time frames like your daily and whatnot. It could be, it would be brilliant for the bigger picture trend, to set a clean higher low and then push to higher high. It would really be like, okay, cool. It would give the market a lot of confidence. It would give those trends an extra layer of, setting a new higher low and a new higher high is always good. I think it would pick up that momentum, bring more people in. Ultimately, it's a really good thing to have that pullback and then that next leg up, because I think this, whilst the market is definitely a lot stronger at the moment, and we've had some very good runs, we've got to remember that, like, look at the big picture. You know, this time last year for a lot of these projects, where we are now from, you know, where are we? Let's go from just back here to where we are. It's still down 80 odd percent. What we want to see is we want to see these trends really kick in and have a long run, you know, a sustained rally that we can really work well. A lot of people still probably a little bit nervous. I'm talking about investors, spot buyers, retail as a whole, are probably still a little bit weary, a little bit like, oh gosh, is it going to keep going, or is this going to sell off again? That next leg up, that's just a reference point. If we get another leg up, I think it might help to quell some of those doubts and really kick this bull market into, I don't know if I'd say overdrive, but into, you know, where we want it to be. Very clear direction, very clear positive trends and momentum. And I mean, the underlying, what's happening in you know, behind closed doors, so to speak, or not so much behind closed doors, but, you know, the big picture is certainly bullish. I mean, we've now got Coin. That's what the EPIC code is. Anyway, it's the US Coinbase. It's now listed in the S&P 500, which what that actually means is that now retirement funds, you know, what we have as superannuation over there, their retirement fund and all that sort of stuff. Once you get in the S&P 500, there's a certain amount of funds that need to be allocated to and it's got to be weighted to the S&P 500 and the shares within it. So it means that, you know, those massive buys and those big players are coming in just by virtue of the fact that it's in the S&P 500. So it's another big positive. Of course, I've also read recently that I think Donald Trump went to the Middle East and there was positive news from deals and da-da-da-da. So again, that's positive liquidity news for the markets. It's a good thing. We want the US economy to be strong. We want the US markets to be strong because it allows there to be higher thirst for risk on assets, which is crypto, sorry. So there's a lot of bullishness. There's a lot of really strong signs there. What we need, though, is we need this next wave to kick that retail in and to really, you know, take people from considering doing something to actually doing something. And I think that's what we've potentially got coming up. If we can set that higher low on that daily and continue to push higher, Bitcoin getting to all-time highs next week would be really, really beneficial, not just for our back pocket, you know, immediately, but for the sake of a prolonged movement to the upside and a real bull market that we can sort of, you know, that we're used to. You know, when we get a bull market, we get that kick, we get that big move. That's the sort of thing I'm thinking. We just need that next leg to kick that into gear. So there's a bit of a blah, 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 blah around what I'm seeing at the moment on the charts, but also with the fundamental news out there. I think some of you guys got a trade here, didn't you? Really nice move. Still a fair bit of volatility on Civic. Civic was one of the first things that I bought back in 2000. I think it was 17. Vinny Lingo, I interviewed him, I think a couple of times on my old podcast. That's a project he's involved in. It's still around, obviously. Not seeing a huge amount here yet. And keep in mind, a lot of these 4 hours are they look like this. They're just a bit ugly. They're not tradable. Because a lot of it's the bigger picture is the daily, and that's the time frame. And I'm not looking to short if that daily trend is still up. For all the reasons that I just mentioned, but most importantly, you know, happy to short something that's in a downtrend or that's got very good momentum. But if it's just a pullback into the moving averages on the daily, the upside tends to be lower. EOS, yeah, not going to be today for me anyway. Might be losing a bit of steam there. Yeah, don't like that on the 2. Not that keen on the 4. the first time in a while that where Ethereum's had some buying come in and it hasn't just immediately sold off. You know, we've seen so many times up, back down, up, back down, up, back down, up, back down, up, back down. This time we've gone up, we've gone consolidate for a long time, up again, and we're holding. Positive signs there for Ethereum. A lot of ho-hum here, isn't there? A lot of patience hat on. Yeah, I can imagine, Kazi. A lot of Ethereum holders feeling the same way. Had a big move last week, 40, I think it was 40%. Nothing to be sneezed at. Still a long way to go, though. It's still miles away from its all-time highs, which is really interesting. Bitcoin, of course, has broken all-time highs a couple of times. ETH still just needing a little bit more encouragement. No, very volatile, very steep pullback there. Griffith keeps pulling back. I'm not interested there. Yeah, all-time highs are always a buzz point, and that's why I want to see Bitcoin do it. We get Bitcoin up through those highs. I think there's blue sky ahead, and the question that people say, oh, where do you think it's going to go to? Well, I try not to think, but my original targets, had the bull market have done what they had it in the past, was I think 180. I was going to start taking profits around 150. But with it being delayed and with a lot of, a lot of what has come in recently with the bullishness, the global sentiment towards it, especially in the US, look, that could set up. It's going to take some time. I might have to alter that. But look, at the end of the day, the bottom line is when we've got hyperextension, when the market is in euphoria, I like to be selling into buyers. I don't like to be taking profits into sellers. I like to be getting out on the way out as opposed to on the way down. I find mentally it's easier for me to do. Plus, look, with Bitcoin, you're not going to worry about slippage unless you're selling 1,000 of the bloody things. And sadly, I don't have 1,000 of the bloody things. But selling on an enormous run up, it tends to be where I take my profits. And the reason, again, is, look, I don't really care if it goes higher. From my standpoint, I've got a job to do. I'm an investor. I'm a trader. I do both, which means that the whole point of what I do is to time things and to make profit. For me, if I can be hitting some targets and start, closing out some serious profits, I don't care if I've got let's just use a simple number. If I've got $500,000 in an altcoin, and I put in, say, 50,000, so it's up 10x. If I'm selling a bunch at $500,000 in profit and then it goes on to double, that's fine. It's already gone up 10x. So I want to be on the right side of that trade. The potential for it to pull back is it's significant. So from my standpoint, I want to be exiting. Yeah, that's not going to work either. I want to be exiting when the trade starts to make less sense and to be in it, right? Because the downside potential is enormous. The upside will start to lose a little bit. It's not going to, if it's already done a 20x, let's say as an example, then is it going to do another 20x? Well, you got to look at the probabilities of that, the realistic side of that. Because if you don't look at it like that, a lot of the time, this is how people end up doing a round trip, which is, you're in big profit, but you don't take any and you watch it come all the way back down and then you're waiting for the next bull market. You don't want to round trip these. I'd rather be taking profits and see it double again from where I got out and going, well, you know what? I still did really, really well. I'm very satisfied with the outcomes. I got plenty of cash in the bank. I'm sweet. Then I would rather be in that position than, seeing it fall and freaking out and not knowing what to do. So I tend to sell when the market is strong, not when the market is weak. Look, when I'm selling, if I'm selling anything when the market is weak, it's the last little bit generally. I will tend to keep a position that's, just in case, I might keep 20% of my position on and go, okay, well, cool. If it does go a bit further, sweet, I'll take a bit more. Very similar mindset for my investments as my trading. You want to milk the most out of it as you possibly can, but you want to keep your head in the right place, and you want to make sure you're banking profits along the way. So I'm going to be saying a lot more on this as the time comes. When the market does get to those points, I will be in here letting you know what my plans are. Obviously, you make your own decisions on everything, but it will be about us as a collective doing well together. And just about everybody who is in here trading is also holding Bitcoin and alts. You do have a portfolio, and I'm hopeful that portfolio will continue to grow through this bull market. I want to see you guys reap the rewards of the upside and not be stuck at the end of it going, damn it, coulda, shoulda, woulda. And one of the things that people do, just as a heads up, if you start finding yourselves do things like, if I can just get back to here, I'll take it if it gets back to here. Well, that's an afterthought. It may never get back to there. Don't think like that. If you feel that, okay, I should have taken it there and you didn't, well, take it where it is. Just take your profit and then work out why you didn't take it at that time. That's where the learning comes in, so you can sharpen your tools for next time. Because the idea is to be an investor and trader, probably forever. I mean, why not? It's a pretty good way to live. But it's a good way to live if you're taking your profits. It's a shit way to live if you round trip everything and you go, I had millions and now I don't. That's not a place you want to find yourself. Yeah, that didn't eventuate. So far, I'm not seeing a great deal that I'm interested in. So far, it really is just that Bitcoin chart. And we are into the R's. Quick scan today, and it's just the state of the market, really. No point in digging deeper if there's nothing to dig deeper into. Again, another one. We had this. This is a prime example, right? So with Rose, higher, low, higher, high. Then we go low. Then we went woof. And that's been our most recent couple of week or two, right? That big run up. Now we're pulling back. Getting this higher low and setting a new higher high means that we've got a daily trend on something like this. Right now we've just got volatility, but no real cyclical trend. The 2 day is going to look all right. All right. But the 1 day, I want those dailies in trends that are very workable for us. That's what I'd really like to see. And that's what we're going to have to wait for. Morning, Brendo. At the moment, the only options for daily cradles are those that are already in good established uptrends. And surprisingly, there's not a huge amount of those options available. Pretty divergent here on the daily. I'll leave that. That's not going to cut the mustard for me on those higher time frames. As you guys are aware, there's, and if you are new in here, yes, that's right, Tony. I'm looking at the 1 day for cradles. I'm looking at everything, but at this stage, it is currently, just given the state of the market and the trends and the deeper pullback that we're seeing, it is the daily time frame that the market seems to be pulling back into. If it's going to give a signal, it will more than likely be on the daily, unless, of course, there's a little lower time frame breakout, something like that coincides with something like this. A bullish candle in the cradle, in an uptrend, then we get a flat level here on a lower time frame. That could be a signal there as well. It's a little bit big for me at the moment. And I don't think there's going to be any flat level down here. No. So yeah, for those of you that are new, just a heads up that, we go through stages as a trader where we get a bit of a bonanza, like last week was. There was just trades left, right, and center, good trends, good opportunities, and guess what? We take good trades and we get good returns. Generally, when we get those good conditions, we do quite well. Then there's periods where it's like this, where you're sort of, okay, and what are you going to give me now? What's the next play, market? What's the next play? There's usually a couple of stop outs before that because you are trading and, the market is strong and then it turns. Okay, so like yesterday, I got stopped out on Foxy. Had the market have decided it wanted to ramp again today, well, I would have got profit. Also yesterday, I would have got profit out of Foxy. But in the same respect, I had the short there, which Voxel gave me profit. So we go through stages where there's plenty of options, plenty of opportunity, and then there's a period where we need to take a little bit of a breather as the market does and wait for that market to reset and to really provide for us again. That's the tricky bit, and that's why being in these scans will help you, because I'm in here, I'm expressing what I'm seeing, what I'm planning, how I'm looking at the markets, and eventually that will become part of what you do and how you see things. But there are times, and look, the good trading is not about trading all the time. It's about managing that capital. This could be decent tomorrow. Again, I'd like it to close down here or have a little candle today, because there is a very clear trend here. Wait for that for tomorrow. So it's, I guess, it's know when to hold them, know when to fold them. You know what I mean? Like, there are times where it is a little bit more slow, but thankfully, times when it's slow is a hell of a lot easier after a week like last week. How do you make the split pane change with the same asset with one click? Up here. That one there. And then sync in layout, symbol, tick across, crosshair, tick across. And that way my crosshair and my symbol are all changed together. Good question. Pretty pleased market. Give us Bitcoin breaking that bullish candle today. Give us another 4% move to the upside, clear out those old highs, get us back into, every time I look at the market, I'm just excited. Last week was crazy. Like, I was up in Queensland last week, this week in Sydney with the kids, last week in Queensland. I just, with my partner, I had to leave sometimes because I couldn't take myself away from the bloody charts. Because don't forget, we had some ripper, like that AVAX trade. I think it was the 30-minute on AVAX. There was a whole bunch of them. I came to that trade. It was brilliant. Just in and out, you know. I think I was only in it for the duration of maybe 8 hours or 6 hours, but banked like 3.5%. I think it was in the end, and that was with scaling out too. Yeah, I love those conditions. They're so much fun. I say fun because it genuinely is. When you know what you're doing and the market comes to you like that, it's like, fuck yeah, I'm making money. You know what I mean? Like, it's really, really, really fun, and I thoroughly enjoy it, to the point where I didn't even look to go fishing with anyone last week. That's how much I enjoy it. I was happier being in the market than being on a boat, because it was just a ripper of a week. And those times I'll come back. It's just the breathing in between. You know, do you breathe in or do you breathe out? Well, you do both, and that's what trading is. You got to be there. You got to be watching. You got to be switched on. We looked at Voxel before with the short. It's providing well. And we're back at the top. So that's, geez, 23-minute scan. That is not long. I added nothing. Nothing at all was added to this list today. So give yourself the day off, I guess. The only thing that is there is Bitcoin. That is it. There is, over here, I guess there's resistance there. I mean, it comes back to if it's not clear, it's not there. There's something that's really there's something screaming at me to take a long here, but there's also, like, I just wish it was super clear. You know, I wish it was super clear. Nah, don't do it because there's resistance. And that's probably as close as I can get to it. That one little candle blipping through there is probably the only thing that I can suggest just to keep me out. Anyway, I mean, look, if there's one decision to be made, it is Bitcoin. To the long side, obviously, with this cradle in 5 minutes closing. That's the only option I see as being viable and available. Now, don't forget that if that does occur, if you don't take that, if you decide against that, don't forget that if it does, you know, play out the way I would hope a cradle to play out. So if I was going to take that long, I'm hoping it's going to leg itself up and go towards all-time highs in the next couple of days. That's the hope and desire, right? That's the strategy. That's the play. That's what we do. If that is to occur, and I'm not in it, and I've got two choices. I can go, we coulda, shoulda, woulda, or more than likely, another option that I'm going to probably have available to me is that I will get a trend. I'll get trends here. I mean, you can already see it on the 1 hour. There's a higher low right here. If we push above here, we're going to get ourselves into a higher high. We're going to get ourselves into a 1 hour trend. If I don't take the daily and it does start to move, there's more than likely going to be some good trends on the lower timeframes, which will also probably provide me with opportunities as well. So I guess you can kind of have your cake and eat it too in this case. If we do see it move higher and I am not in that trade, then I will be looking at lower timeframes for opportunities. And I would suggest that there'll probably be more opportunities on those lower timeframes than just Bitcoin. So was making your decision, think about that, because you do have choice. You don't have to be in it. There's no need to think about, well, if I don't take it and it runs higher, if I don't take it and it runs higher, am I going to feel FOMO? Well, you don't need to, because all you need to do is equip yourself with the eyeballs and a stalking strategy, waiting to see how these lower time frame trends goes. I think I've just talked myself into what I'm going to do, which is just wait. But there you go. I'll see what happens throughout the day. I think I'm going to need a nap today. I am cooked. My little girl woke me up again last night at 2 a.m. and I don't function all that well with crappy sleep. Anyway, I love you. I hope you have a fantastic day. And we're kind of in a holding pattern. We're waiting for the airport to accept us. We're waiting for the plane to take off. And I'll speak to you throughout the day. Cheers, guys. Have a ripper day and a fantastic weekend if I don't speak to you during the weekend. Cheers, guys. Bye for now.